Lonnie McAdoo.
All right. So like the previous person, this story is completely unrehearsed, so bear with me a little bit. The year is 1989, 1990. I'm in my senior year in college, and my roommate Christine, her boyfriend Doug, and a classmate of mine, Michael, we've all been sort of pre-gaming a little bit Saturday night, and we decide time to go out and hit the dance floor. So pile in the car, head down to Lansdowne Street like all Bostonians did back then, and we parked in the incredibly large parking lot on Brookline Ave that's right at the head of Lansdowne Street, if people are familiar with it. A very, very large parking facility. And it being fairly late on a Saturday night, we had to park way in the back of the parking lot. So we get out of the car, it's sometime in winter because it is fairly cold outside, and we begin walking up towards Lansdowne Street. And on the other side of the row of cars that we're on is a group of young folks kind of walking back to their car. There's about 3 or 4 people in the front, one really drunk guy in the middle, and about 2 or 3 people behind him. And judging, it's very, very clear what's happened based on the expressions that people had on their faces. Middle guy who's very, very drunk, clearly they were somewhere that they were enjoying. He was having too much fun, did something inappropriate, got all of them kicked out. His shirt is a little disheveled. His friends are carrying what looks like his coat. And while they're sort of chatting and walking along, he's in the middle of the group, kind of mumbling to himself. Lots and lots of profanity. And as he happens to walk by us, he happens to drop the C word. And my roommate Christine sort of jokingly sort of turns and says, "Oh, language," and continues to walk. Well, he being really drunk, of course, was not amused by that and begins replying to her, "Fuck you, you bitch. Fuck you, I should come over there and slap you." And so his friends now are kind of circling back to him, being like, "Come on, calm down," or whatever, and they're kind of herding him to the car. And so we continue walking, and I sort of casually turn and say, "Look, dude, calm down. We're just playing. Just take it easy." And turn and begin walking. And as I turn to begin walking, I hear, "Fuck you, you black piece of shit." Excuse me? What was that now? I said, "Fuck you, you black piece of shit." And he now begins charging. So his friends kind of grab him, and in true sort of drunk dude fashion, he rips the buttons off of his shirt, wriggles out of his shirt. Again, this is like mid-February, and he's now running towards me completely topless at full speed, right? So my 2 friends, Doug and Mike, are behind me, and I feel them sort of coming up, getting ready to intercept this guy. Now, I am generally not a fighter. That's not sort of my nature. But I had been trained in Shaolin Kempo and martial arts and whatnot for several years. I was a theater major in college my senior year. I was fairly strong and crazy flexible. And I was into punk rock and was wearing steel-toed boots at the time. So he begins charging me, and I stand back and kind of get into my stance. And of course, being drunk myself, had to kind of play it up a little bit. So I'm now antagonizing him. "I'm a what? I'm a what? I'm a black what? I'm a black piece of what? I'm a black piece of shit? What?" And he, as he's running up, he's now about 6 feet from me. I'm cocked back, ready to throw a front ball kick into his solar plexus, knowing I'm gonna have to snap it back very quickly, because as he goes down, and he will go down, he is likely going to vomit on me. So I will yank that leg back so quickly, not gonna be touched by any of it. So I cock back, and here again, I'm going into my taunt thing of, "I'm a what? I'm a black what? I'm a black piece of shit what?" And just as he gets just about in range, he stops, just freezes on the spot. And I'm very confused. because I don't understand what's going on. I'm cocked back, I'm ready, I've got the hip action ready, I'm good to go here. And he's just frozen. And I look him in the eye, and his whole expression just drops. And he says, I didn't say that. Now, I don't know what's going on here. What? Well, what did you say? What? He said, I didn't say that. Well, what did you say? I said, you're a fat piece of shit. Looking at me now, that may feel like a really personal insult. But senior year in college, I was on a college budget, eating a college diet. I wasn't skinny. I've never been skinny, but I certainly wasn't fat, right? So realizing this is really a general insult and not at all what I thought it was. And so my only response to him is, oh. And he sort of looks at me and is like, yeah, right? Like, well, what? And he just kind of looks at me, yeah, I don't know, dude, I don't know. And walks off. And I knew as we were both turning and walking in opposite directions that I had witnessed something incredible, and I couldn't quite figure it out what it was. And it wasn't until a little bit later when I realized that as he was charging up, I had put a mask on him, and he was not willing to fight in that mask. That was not his cause. And I realized that, you know, in all of those conflicts, and all the times that, you know, I've witnessed fights, been in fights, whatever, it's always been for something. And I realized that a really great way to disarm somebody is to completely change the reasons they're fighting. So he dropped his mask, not willing to fight under the mask that I had given him. Neither one of us had another mask to put on. We'd only brought the one. So there was no fight, and so we kind of went on our way. Thank you.
That's Lonnie.